So the point of this, right? Why are we doing this? Let's look at it in an actual applied fashion. So we can reparameterize things to be just a hair smaller, right? And so if the actual numerical value doesn't really matter that much, then you can use it to just reduce it by like a 0.01% when you have a panelized surface. So what I'm going to do real quick is just sort of pull this aside over here, and I'm going to insert an actual panel subdivision so that I can use it to create an actual glazing, like a gap between the various glazing elements. Okay, so I'm going to go to Math and Domain. I'm going to use Divide Domain Squared. And then under Surface and Utility, I'm going to use IsoTrim, right? So all of this looks very familiar right now. And I'm going to do sliders from 0 to 10. Just pick some interesting numbers. U, V, and then connect your surfaces, and then connect your subdivide here. So that makes your subdivisions, you probably want less subdivisions than that. Maybe something kind of like this. And then just connect this into your subdivide surface. And so now what you have is a panelized surface with gaps. So how can you use this, right? What would be some way that I could actually turn this into something real? Well, I mentioned if it was a 0.01% in one direction and then a 0.99 in the other direction with another 0.01 and a 0.99. What you'll essentially get is a small gap in between those panels so that it reads as an actual facade, right? So this is just like a small thing you can do to get the next level of realism, right? Especially if it's a flat panel and it's not faceted or curved or anything like that. Having that tiny little gap in there is going to make it more believable. Are you guys keeping up with that? Do I need to pause before I move on to the next thing? Take your silence as a no. Here we go. So let's just start kind of layering these things in now. At this point, it's really interesting to me, at least, because I can just kind of start building facade systems directly on top of it. So if we happen to be in such a position where we wanted to build a louver onto this system, let's say I only wanted a louver that was going to be attached to the right side of each of these panels. Well, I could just take this particular domain and I can apply that now to each of these and then change my percentage values in order to match. So if I pull this over to the side, well, then I have an actual surface that lives on the right side of each of these panels. And similarly, I can extract that surface normal and then extrude them in order to create that particular panel. So I'm going to grab those three golden components here to find a surface normal. I need the area, I need the evaluate surface, and I need the surface closest point. And their configuration always is going to look something like this. Centroid, centroid, surface, surface. Gets my normals, and then I can extrude them. So under surface freeform, extrude. And I'm going to also need an amplitude. I'm moving really fast, guys. I'm testing you to see if you can keep up. So the amplitude gets plugged in here. The geometry that's getting extruded is that. The vector direction is this. And you can see it starting to do something for me there. And I just need to add my slider, which I'm going to go from a negative 10 to 0.00. to 10. That part you might want to copy, so I'll give you a moment real quick. I just wanted something that's going to go from -10 to 10, and I gave it a double decimal place so that I have some real good variability. There we go. Let me turn some of this old stuff off. All right. So I don't know if you can tell from what you see on screen here, but it's already starting to develop a rather, rigorous and believable level of detail. In my opinion, it is, right? Because you can see all the breaks in all the panels. You can see that the attachment on the right side of the panel has a small gap as if it was actually manufactured that way. And so, in my opinion, if I was to render this out, I would believe this because it looks like it's actually assembled, like it's built out of pieces. And it's not just this giant monolithic extrusion that happens on the building. What questions do you have about that? Did I go too fast for you on that one? No?
You lost me.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so these are sort of the essence of what you've just seen here, besides the fact that the domain element is different. You've seen it all before, so I was kind of testing you guys out. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a moment to get caught up here on this one, and then we'll move on to how you do this a little bit more dynamically.